believe it or not, Tyler, I went to Northwood University. That's where it started at for me, Coach Reedma. Like, your story is incredibly unique because you actually went to Northwood University as a basketball player.
Yeah.
And after 1 year, you decided to go to Central Michigan and walk on to Central Michigan and work your way into earning an actual scholarship, right? What was going through your mind during that transition, and what did the experience teach you about betting on yourself when nobody else can see the vision?
I think when I was a kid, I remember telling my mom and stuff, I'm gonna be the first Division I athlete. I remember telling my mom, like, oh, I'm gonna be a pro athlete. And like thinking back, like your parents like, oh yeah, like all kids say that. And out of high school, the story can get long, but like we were really bad at football, 0-27 going into my senior year. And basketball, we were pretty good. And basketball was my first true love. After my junior year, I signed to go to Northwood. At one point, I was going to entertain my football recruiting, and Northwood kind of was like, oh, it doesn't guarantee your scholarship might be gone if you do that. And I was like, I'm going to give my family, I felt like I was helping them a ton by taking free school and going to Northwood. And I was like, I'll go to Northwood. I'll be the best basketball player to play there. And I got there, and man, I just feel like I sold myself short. I feel like, maybe as silly as it sounds, but all the way back to being a kid, it sounds going to be the first ever Division I athlete. Like, I just felt like I didn't stand on my word, and I was miserable. And so I started kind of looking at some other schools to transfer for basketball, Eastern, Oakland, UAD. And one day I was at home with my buddy at Buffalo Wild Wings watching Michigan State play, and they had a tight end, Josiah Price, and do that. And so I started reaching out to some schools for football, Central being one of them because they recruited me in high school. I started telling them I was going to train. Everybody's like, no, just one more semester, just stay. Like, free school is such a blessing. You don't understand. And looking back at it, I'm like, man, like I can see why I felt that way, right? Like at 17, 18 years old, like you don't know what you're doing. You can leave school with zero debt or tens of thousands of debt, right? So I ended up making a decision to go walk on, and obviously it's one of the better decisions I've made in my life so far.
So I want to talk about the scholarship moment, right? Many athletes dream of earning a scholarship, but your path wasn't traditional, right? After walking on to Central Michigan, what did it mean to finally earn a scholarship, and how did that validate the sacrifices you made along the way?
Yeah, when I first got there, so I got there for spring ball, and I was playing receiver. And they moved me to defensive end the last week of spring ball. And I was like, oh, man, I might have messed up. Never played defense before. And I went home that summer. I was working at Ram Construction. And my buddy, he's here now, Sean Koski. He's going to Siena Heights to play quarterback. He's my high school quarterback. And I was like, I almost went to Siena Heights and played football and basketball. I'll go play both sports. And I went up there. I did a workout and everything. They offered me a scholarship. They sent the release papers to Central Michigan. And my defensive line coach called me at that time and was like, what is this about? And I was like, I'm not really sure, but like I was going to ask if I could move to tight end. And he was like, let me talk to him. And at that time, as a walk-on, right, they could have just been like, we're not going to move you. They ended up moving me to tight end. That journey kind of began. I was the eighth tight end, 8 tight ends behind 2 seniors, a junior, 2 guys in my class, a guy in my class, 2 guys freshmen under me, and like that journey of just kind of working my way up, right? Just like, okay, like I'm gonna try to be the second string guy at this point. And even my first year playing, I was second string my sophomore year, and I still didn't have a scholarship. Third string guy behind me had a scholarship. I was second string. I didn't have a scholarship, and I was always frustrated by it. I'm like, it doesn't make sense, but they just like I can't do anything about it. So that next year when they gave my scholarship, it was definitely a big moment, right? I got to okay, like it worked out in the sense of I passed up free school, but I got it back in a certain sense, even though I had to pay it for a little bit.